The Galactic Council Hall was filled with silence that felt heavy, as if the air itself did not dare to move. Every delegate from every world was watching the same thing on the large floating screen above the round table. The image showed hundreds of alien ships gathering near the blue planet called Earth. They were forming battle lines, powering weapons, preparing for war. No one in the chamber spoke for a long time. Councillor Merath of the Kalari species was the first to break the silence. His voice trembled, his long gray tendrils moving with agitation. "They cannot be serious," he said. "Attacking Earth? Are they out of their minds?" Another councillor, a tall insectoid being named Thrix, replied with a cold hiss. "The Coalition believes Earth is weak. Humans have been quiet for centuries. They think now is the time." Merath shook his head slowly. "Then they are fools. They have forgotten what happened the last time humans went to war." Around the table, whispers spread among the delegates. Some of them were young, from species that had joined the council only recently. They did not understand the fear in Merath's voice. They only saw Earth as a small, primitive world, one that had not expanded much since the Terran Peace Accords nearly 3,000 years ago. To them, humans were simple traders, engineers, and explorers. They had never seen the darker side of that species, the one that had nearly destroyed half the Orion arm when provoked long ago. The old ones remembered, but the young ones did not believe the stories. They said those tales were exaggerated, ancient myths meant to scare children. Merath knew better. He had seen the ruins left by human weapons, whole worlds turned to glass, fleets erased in minutes. Humanity had promised never to wage such wars again, but they had never truly lost the power to do it. They simply chose peace. Now some distant alliance of reckless empires had decided to test them. On the screen, the image shifted to show the planet Earth up close. Blue oceans, green continents, and the glow of its nightlight sparkled across the darkness of space. The alien fleet moved into position near Mars' orbit. Dozens of warships locked weapons and began to transmit warnings. "They are demanding surrender," Thrix muttered. "They expect Earth to give up without a fight." Merath's voice dropped to a whisper. "They do not know what they have woken." Far away in the Sol system, alarms echoed across the moon base of Luna Command. Inside the main control center, officers rushed between glowing screens, sending encrypted signals and activating defense systems that had not been used for generations. Captain Laura Barnes stood in the center of the command room, her expression calm but her heart pounding. She had trained for years, but she had never thought this day would come. Earth had always been peaceful. Now a fleet of unknown enemies was preparing to invade. Her comm officer turned to her. "Captain, transmission from Earth Defense Command. All ships are to go to full alert. You are authorized to activate the Horizon." Laura nodded. "Understood." Minutes later, she stood aboard her ship, the ECS Horizon, one of Earth's most advanced defense vessels. The ship had been built in silence, hidden from the galaxy's eyes, a symbol of humanity's quiet preparation for the day they might be tested again. Her crew moved quickly, powering up systems that had not been touched in decades. Commander Ryan Cole, her second in command, watched the tactical map fill with red markers. "That's a lot of ships," he said quietly. "They outnumber us 10-1. Laura looked at him. "Then it's a fair fight." He smiled nervously. "You really think we can hold them off?" "I don't think," she said. "I know." On Earth, General Adam Cross stood before a wall of holographic displays in the central command bunker beneath Colorado. His face was calm, his gray eyes focused. Around him, officers reported updates from every station across the solar system. "Orbital defense platforms are online," one officer said. "Deep space arrays report multiple incoming fleets from the outer planets." Cross folded his arms. "Are they transmitting any demands?" "They're demanding surrender of all Terran territories," another officer replied. "They say they want our technology and resources." Cross's mouth curved into a thin line. "They'll get our answer soon enough." He turned toward the room. "Activate Protocol Sentinel. Lock all defense grids. Inform every fleet admiral Earth is under attack. We fight to defend our home." A chorus of acknowledgments filled the air. Far away, on the alien flagship called the Cathari Dominion, the Coalition leader, Grand Marshal Drevis, stood proudly on his command bridge. Before him, the planet Earth shone small and bright on the screen. He smiled cruelly. "Primitive world," he said. "They built toys and called them defenses. Today we remind them who rules the stars." His second officer, a thin reptilian creature, hesitated. "Sir, reports say humans once had powerful weapons. Perhaps we should—" "Silence," Drevis snapped. "That was long ago. They are farmers and merchants now. Their war days are over." He raised his hand. "Prepare the first strike." The coalition fleet began to move, forming tight attack groups. Hundreds of plasma torpedoes loaded into launch tubes. Energy beams hummed with rising power. The order went out. Fire. From Mars' orbit, bright lights filled the void. The weapons streaked across the solar system, burning trails through space as they aimed for Earth's outer defense lines. The Galactic Council watched the feed in stunned silence as the torpedoes reached their targets. But then something unexpected happened. The torpedoes vanished, not exploded, not deflected, vanished, swallowed by invisible energy fields that rippled like water before fading away. The alien commanders screamed in confusion. Their sensors could not detect what happened. They fired again. The result was the same. Every shot disappeared into nothing. In the council chamber, Mirath stood up. His voice shook. That was human technology?" Counselor Thrix nodded slowly, her many eyes wide. "They said they dismantled their weapons after the peace accords. They lied." Across the solar system, hidden in the cold darkness beyond Neptune, ancient machines came to life. Massive platforms, silent for centuries, began to glow with deep blue light. They had been built during the last age of human war, sealed away when peace came. Now they awoke, responding to the emergency codes sent by Earth Defense Command. Their weapons locked onto targets across the system. Inside the horizon, Captain Barnes felt the deck hum beneath her boots as the ship's reactors came to full power. Ryan Cole looked at his console. "Defensive platforms reporting ready. Awaiting your command." Laura stared at the screen showing the enemy fleet. "Let them come closer." "Closer?" Ryan asked. "Are you sure?" She nodded. "Yes, I want them to see our eyes before we strike." On the command screen of the alien flagship, Drevis laughed when he saw no human ships moving to respond. "They are frozen with fear," he said. "Finish them." But then out of the shadows beyond Mars, ships appeared. Dozens of them, then hundreds rising from dark space like ghosts. Their hulls reflected no light, their engines silent and unseen. They moved with perfect precision, spreading into formation. Every one of them carried the symbol of Earth, an old blue and white flag from a long-forgotten time. "Impossible," Drevis whispered. "They had no fleet." Captain Barnes spoke quietly into her comm. "This is Captain Laura Barnes of the Earth Defense Fleet. You have entered human space. Leave now or we will defend our home." The alien commander sneered. "You will surrender or be destroyed." Laura gave a small nod to her tactical officer. "Then we will begin." Across space, the human ships opened fire. The void erupted with light as energy beams and railgun rounds tore through the alien lines. The coalition fleet tried to respond, but their weapons were useless against the strange human shields. One after another, alien ships exploded into fire. From the moon, from Mars, from the orbit of Neptune, more human ships emerged. Old warships from forgotten fleets, automated drones, and silent defense stations. The enemy had thought Earth was weak. Instead, they found a world that had spent centuries preparing in secret. The Galactic Council watched the live transmission in complete silence. Ships were breaking apart. The once mighty coalition was in chaos. No one could understand how humans had hidden such power. Counselor Marath finally spoke. "The humans are fighting again," he said quietly. "And if the past has taught us anything, the galaxy should be afraid." On the horizon, Captain Barnes stood at the center of her bridge, calm and steady as her ship led the counterattack. Ryan Cole looked at the destruction spreading across the map. "They really thought we were weak," he said. Laura nodded slowly. "They made a mistake every fool makes. They thought peace means fear. It doesn't. It means patience." Outside, the stars lit up with fire as the first battle for Earth began. The old strength of humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The war had truly begun. All across the solar system, signals of battle filled every communication channel. The alien coalition had launched its full assault, sending waves of ships toward Earth and Mars. Their commanders believed that if they kept firing long enough, the humans' defenses would finally fail. But nothing was going the way they expected. On board the ECS Horizon, Captain Laura Barnes stood in front of the wide observation screen. The stars outside were lit by flashes of light, explosions from alien ships breaking apart under human fire. Her crew worked quietly and efficiently, every movement filled with purpose. No one shouted, no one panicked. It was as if they had been waiting for this moment all their lives. "Status report," Laura said calmly. Commander Ryan Cole read the latest data on his screen. "Enemy ships still advancing from Sector 12, but their formation is breaking. Our railguns are cutting through their armor. Casualties are minimal." Laura nodded. "Keep pressure on their left flank. Push them toward the gravity field." Ryan gave a short smile. "Already on it." A few moments later, the alien fleet tried to regroup, but it was too late. Their ships entered the edge of Neptune's artificial gravity field, a secret defense system humanity had hidden centuries ago. Their navigation systems failed. Ships spun out of control, crashing into one another like metal meteors. The field pulled them apart, tearing hulls in silence. "Sector 12 neutralized," Ryan said quietly. Laura stared at the fading lights. "Good. Move the fleet toward Mars orbit. The Coalition's command ships are there. It's time we end this attack." While human ships advanced, the Galactic Council continued to watch the live feeds from the battlefield. The vast circular chamber was almost silent except for the hum of data screens. Counselor Merith sat frozen in his chair, watching one alien vessel after another explode into fragments. "By the stars," whispered Counselor Thrix. "How can they do this? They were outnumbered." Merith leaned forward. "This is humanity's way. They never fight for conquest, but when they are attacked, they fight like nothing else in the galaxy." Another delegate, a young avian from the Yalith system, flapped his wings nervously. "They are monsters." Marath shook his head. "No, they are survivors. Back in the Sol system, the aliens were learning that truth too late. Grand Marshal Drevis paced across the bridge of his flagship, the Kothari Dominion. Every report he received made less sense than the last. His officers shouted updates from broken screens. Entire squadrons had gone silent. The humans were everywhere, striking from hidden bases, from asteroids, from dark space. No signal could reach beyond the interference fields. "This cannot be happening," Drevis roared. "We have the numbers. We have the technology." One of his lieutenants, a pale-skinned creature with trembling claws, looked up from his console. "Sir, our weapons can't penetrate their shields. They have energy barriers we've never seen before." "Then target their reactors. Overload them." "We've tried, sir," the lieutenant said, fear in his voice. "Our targeting systems fail when we lock onto them. It's as if their ships are distorting space." Drevis turned toward the screen and stared at the glowing blue planet of Earth. How long have they been preparing for this? No one dared to answer. At that same moment, in the human command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Adam Cross stood surrounded by his staff. Maps and tactical charts filled the air around him in three-dimensional displays. His expression remained calm, though his mind moved fast. "Report," he said. Admiral Vega appeared on a hollow screen from her carrier in Earth's orbit. "Sir, our orbital defense grids are holding. We've lost 2 satellites, but the alien fleet is in retreat near Mars. Captain Barnes and the Horizon are leading the counterattack." "Good," Cross said. "Any word on civilian zones?" "Minimal damage," she answered. "We evacuated the outer colonies before the first strike." Cross nodded. "Keep all evacuation lines open. This war isn't over yet." Outside Earth's atmosphere, the night sky was bright with streaks of fire. Defense drones darted through space like silver insects, striking enemy ships with precise energy bursts. The coalition fleets, once confident, were falling into chaos. On the bridge of the horizon, Ryan Cole studied the readings. "The enemy's main command ship is pulling back toward the asteroid belt. Looks like they're running." Laura's voice was firm. "Then let's make sure they don't come back." The Horizon turned sharply, its engines burning bright blue. The ship accelerated faster than the alien sensors could track. Within minutes, the human fleet caught up with the retreating command ships. The space between Mars and Jupiter became a storm of explosions. Missiles streaked across the void, laser fire flared against shields, and wreckage drifted like metal snow. Inside the alien flagship, alarms screamed. Drevis gripped the edge of his console. Bring all power to forward shields. Fire everything. But it was no use. The humans moved too fast. A single shot from the Horizon's rail cannon struck the Cathari Dominion's engines. The entire rear section of the ship tore apart in a wave of blue light. Flames rushed through the corridors. Drevis fell to the floor as the ship began to spin out of control. Evacuate, someone shouted. No, Drevis growled. He dragged himself back to the control panel. We will not retreat from primitives. He tried to aim his remaining weapons, but his ship's systems failed. The last thing he saw before the lights went out was a human ship moving through the wreckage, calm, silent, unstoppable. On the horizon, the battle quieted. Debris floated slowly across the black sky. Laura watched the readings as the last enemy signatures faded. Is it over? Ryan asked. For now, Laura said. They'll send more. Ryan frowned. Why? Would anyone keep fighting after this? Because they don't understand us yet, she said softly. They think we fight like them, for power or pride. They don't know we fight because we have to. The communication screen flashed. It was General Cross. His image appeared clear and sharp. Captain Barnes, excellent work, he said. You've broken their main fleet. We're receiving distress signals from the survivors. Laura straightened. Orders, sir? Maintain position around Mars. Secure the area and assist recovery teams. We'll decide our next step soon. Yes, sir. After the call ended, Ryan leaned back in his chair, letting out a long breath. You ever think about how strange this is? A whole galaxy watching us right now. Laura gave a faint smile. Let them watch. Maybe they'll remember what happens when someone pushes humanity too far. Far across the stars, the Galactic Council continued to watch. The chamber had turned tense and fearful. Dozens of species whispered among themselves, their translators struggling to keep up with the flood of anxious voices. A young counselor spoke up. The humans have destroyed 1,000 ships in 2 days. No one has ever done that. Mareth closed his eyes. The last time they fought like this, the stars themselves burned. Thrix looked around at the others. We should contact them. We must calm them before they turn their anger on us. They will not strike without cause, Mareth said. But if anyone attacks again, there will be nothing left to calm. The chamber grew silent again. Every delegate understood the truth. The galaxy had made a terrible mistake. They had believed the humans were weak, that centuries of peace had made them forget how to fight. They were wrong. Back on Earth, news of victory spread quickly. Crowds gathered in cities and colonies, watching the bright streaks in the night sky. Families held each other tightly, not in fear but in pride. For generations, humans had lived quietly, exploring, building, and learning. Now they remembered something older, something fierce and unbroken. In the quiet of her ship, Laura stood by the observation window, watching the sunlight spread across the edge of Mars. Ryan joined her. Do you think they'll ever stop? He asked. One day, she said. When they finally understand that peace isn't weakness? He nodded slowly. And if they don't? She looked at the stars. Then we'll remind them again. The radio crackled with a soft message from Earth Command. A familiar voice spoke. It was Ambassador Nia Carter, the representative of humanity at the Galactic Council. This is Ambassador Carter, the message said. To all coalition survivors, Earth offers mercy. Surrender your weapons and return to your systems. We will not pursue you. But let this serve as a warning. Do not come here again. Her calm words spread across the network, echoing through every surviving alien ship. Many ignored the message, but others listened. Some realized that if humans could destroy their fleet so easily, perhaps peace was the only choice left. In the council chamber, the delegates listened to her broadcast in silence. There was no pride in her voice, only calm strength. Mareth leaned back in his chair and whispered, The galaxy forgot who they were. Now we all remember. Above Earth, the Horizon continued to orbit quietly, its crew resting after hours of battle. The stars looked peaceful again, But everyone on board knew the truth. Peace never lasted long. Somewhere, someone would test them again. And when that day came, humanity would be ready, just as they had always been. The fires of war still burned in the cold dark of space, but for the first time in centuries, every world in the galaxy looked toward Earth with fear and respect. Humanity had returned, and the stars would never forget their name.